Ladies and gentlemen, good evening from Istanbul and good afternoon from Bogota. Over the past decade and a half, the long-kept secret of Colombia's cultural heritage and natural beauty has spread throughout the international tourism circuit. The country's potential as a regional tourism hotspot has been recognized by organizations and publications worldwide, with business-focused media outlet Forbes listing Colombia as one of the 10 coolest places to visit in 2019, a celebration of life and optimism of the Colombian people. It's an honor for me to welcome to World Tourism Forum Institute His Excellency Julian Orozco, Colombian Vice Minister of Commerce, Industry and Tourism. Welcome to our platform, His Excellency.
Thank you very much, Bulut, for this invitation. It's really a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Before the pandemic, tourism was an increasingly important sector in Colombia's economy. Foreign visitors to Colombia grew 300% between 2006 and 2019. The country's peace deal in 2016 with the FARC guerrilla group opened up the country's more, and foreign tourists grew an average of 8.5%. In 2019, the industry employed 1.4 million Colombians and contributed $19 billion to the economy, equal to 3.8% of the GDP. So, Excellency, the first question, how has the transition to the tourism economy been for Colombia so far? What is behind its success?
Thank you very much for your country. And I think that the success of Colombia's strategy when it comes to tourism has different causes. But probably the most important of all is that there is a sense of purpose and common goal between the government, the private sector, the airlines, the hotel industry. So we really try to work together, united with a focus and to aim at one only goal, which is to position Colombia worldwide as a very attractive tourism destination. Last year was a year of success, of records. We had the record in the number of travelers to Colombia, 4.5 million. We had the record in terms of hotel occupation, 57.8%. We had the record in airline connectivity. We inaugurated 17 new international routes with different destinations and 39 new frequencies. Yeah. So all those are demonstrations of the way in which Colombia has been positioning itself in the last years.
Okay. So, Excellency, according to the certain data, Colombia collected the third highest tourism receipts, as you mentioned, in South America after Brazil and Argentina in 2017 at 4.8 billion USD. Additionally, there is a forecast of an increase in total contribution to GDP of 5.8% in 2017 to 6.1% of GDP by 2028. Then came to the pandemic. The closure of businesses and borders pushed hotel occupancy below 3% nationally. Some 235,000 jobs have been affected. After the hit of COVID-19, do you foresee any change in the performance and the size of Colombian tourism? What is your assumptions and what is your forecast on that?
There is no doubt that one of the sectors that has been worst affected by the pandemic has been the tourism sector, whether in Colombia or pretty much in any other country in the world.
Exactly.
So I believe that there is going to be a change in paradigm, a new change in trends, and countries have to be very witty with their eyes open to look and identify these new trends in travel and tourism worldwide. And we need to adapt. I think that the most important word now is to adapt. This is not the moment to be still. But as every crisis we know brings also an opportunity. And this is an opportunity not to recover and go back to the tourism that we have pre-pandemic, before the pandemic, but to aim at having a different tourism worldwide and in Colombia as well, a better kind of tourism, one that is more responsible with the environment, one that enriches the experience of the travelers, one where there is more flexibility and adaptation from the service providers to the customers, one in which health plays an important role through the protocols of biosecurity and the biosecurity stamps, etc. So I really do think that Colombia is a country that has been tested time and time for its resilience. Colombia is a country that has had to endure very, very difficult situations in terms of its history of violence, etc. So we are well prepared to confront another difficult situation. And there is something that Colombians always have, and it is happiness, optimism, and a willingness to work with a sense of purpose for a brighter future.
Yeah, it's perfect. Actually, you are mentioning home of hospitality, so it's cause like that. Am I right, Excellency?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Excellency, some says Colombia's visitor arrivals are disturbed by a mass migration from neighboring Venezuela. So the question is, how does mass migration affect the economy of the country? Does government have any strategy to stop mass migration to the country? So what's your agenda on that side?
You are right that in the past, there was a distortion of the number of travelers coming to Colombia because it incorporated some of the people that are coming from our neighboring country, Venezuela. But that number has been completely adjusted. And now the numbers, the statistics about travelers to Colombia does not incorporate. And when I talk to you about the record of visitors to Colombia of 4.5 million last year, I'm not incorporating that other type of movement of people to the country from Venezuela.
Okay, it's now under the control, you mean?
Yes, this is a different thing. I mean, of course, as a Vice Minister of Tourism, it's not my responsibility to talk about this issue, but we are aware of the difficult situation that citizens from that country are undergoing at the moment. There is a large number of citizens from Venezuela that have migrated, and the Colombian government has adopted a policy of solidarity with the people, with funding, with significant resources to assist and provide humanitarian help to those persons that have had unwillingly to move to our country.
Okay. Excellency, when you turn back the tourism, the government has ambitious plans for tourism sector. We know that with the President Ivan Duque referring to it repeatedly as the country's new oil. So Excellency is mentioning all the interviews as the tourism as the new oil. So the Ministry of Trade and the Commerce has authority over the tourism sector, most significantly through the Vice Ministry of Tourism, which is responsible for the policies relating to security, air access, infrastructure, and accommodation development, marketing, human capital, incentives, and financing for the sector. Could you give us an insight on the ambitious plans for tourism sector for 2018 to 2022?
Sure, there is a very well worked out strategy that has been the result, again, of the work between the public and the private sector, and that focuses on different aspects. First, the aspect of governance and planning. We have a program to support different cities and different regions in Colombia in developing their tourism plans, and we have developed a toolbox to assist the governors and the mayors of cities in putting tourism as a priority. We also have a project that is related to the comprehensive, let's say, administration of the destinations to make sure that we identify correctly the level of progress of development of the different regions in Colombia, and that we adopt tailor-made strategy plans of action so that we really respond to the needs of every individual destination in Colombia. Second, we are working very strongly in terms of competitiveness to improve the quality of the service in Colombia. Colombia has well-trained people, and again, one of our main characteristics is the hospitality, the welcomingness, etc. And we need to professionalize this, and we have different programs for doing that. One is a program that we conduct through ProColombia that covers the 32 regions of the country with 60 different modules specialized in the hotel industry, leisure tourism, the meetings industry, and a component of tourism and peace. And we are covering the whole country with that. Then we have a strategy also when it comes to promotion of the country, both for domestic and international tourism. And we have a campaign, an international campaign that focuses on music as an expression of the richness and diversity of the country. And finally, attracting foreign investment in the policy on tourism infrastructure, where we have developed incentives to attract foreign investment with a preferential tax rate for investments in tourism infrastructure, among other things. We have a new policy on tourism infrastructure that we are developing, and we have a strategy to attract this type of investment, not only in the main tourism destinations, but to diversify the places where we want that investment to be.
And as I understand on your the conversation, so especially you are mentioning lots of times the infrastructure. So what are the advantages who wants to invest as an investor on the tourism and infrastructure side, especially tax exemptions? What is the regulation? So what as a country you are providing to the investors on the international arena? Excellency.
Colombia is a very attractive country for attracting investment. The first reason is that Colombia is located right in the middle of the Americas, halfway between extreme North and extreme South America. And that makes it a platform for connectivity that it reaches to different international destinations in a very easy manner, you know?
Exactly.
First of all that. Second, Colombia has a reputation for its macroeconomic stability. We have never experienced issues like hyperinflation, extreme devaluation, and the responsibility with which the economy in Colombia is handled is well known throughout Latin America, and that is something that an investor really wants to look into detail at. Then we have a series of incentives for investment with income tax preferences in terms of the tariff. Instead of paying a 30%, we have a 9%. Then there are other measures in more detail that would be too long to explain when it comes to labor, when it comes to the possibility of sending away the profits internationally to the main companies that invest. But just to give you an example, there will be a very important investment in the months to come of approximately $1 billion in health infrastructure, also associated with tourism in the country. So I think that there are plenty of reasons why Colombia is attractive, not to mention probably the most important of them all, which is the diversity of natural landscapes, ecosystems, whether it's beaches on the Caribbean or the Pacific Ocean, the Andean region, the Eastern Plains, the Amazon region. Almost 40% of Colombia is in the Amazon basin. So Colombia is a country that represents, and it's like a kind of sample of what all Latin America has to offer. It's Latin America in a nutshell, in a way. And that offers the opportunity for investment in any sector that you want, whether it's sun and beaches, whether it's adventure, travel, nature, culture, etc., etc.
I understand, Excellency. I see. So actually, Colombia has lots of opportunities as the international investors. If some investors are looking at the new destination, so Colombia is the best alternative, as I understand, as your speeches. So turn back to the employment. So Excellency, Colombia has the third largest labor force in Latin America after Brazil and Mexico, according to the World Bank. This availability of labor and the quality of Colombian talent has allowed foreign companies to spend the last 12 years transferring their customer support and back office process to Colombia. Colombia's push to formalize the travel tourism economy, including the government's renewal of the National Tourism Registry, is also reflected in the sector's employment figures. Travel and tourism's direct contribution to the employment measured at 1.3 million jobs or 5.8% of the total employment, with that figure expected to increase to 1.5 million jobs, making up 6.2% of total employment by 2028. So on this perspective, does Ministry have any strategy to create new employment opportunities in across the tourism sector, Excellency?
Absolutely, yes. As you rightly point out, the tourism industry, being a service sector, is intensive in labor. And we see that through tourism, there is a very good opportunity for employment in the country. We have been working with the other ministries, the Ministry of Labor, and of course, our ministry, in creating opportunities for employment in the industry, in the hotel industry, in the travel agency industry, in the air transportation industry, and also in something that we consider to be fundamental, which is in the work of travel guides. Yeah. And we have been working to professionalize the work of travel guides, creating a revised pensum for training that should expand and cover more part of the country, creating a training manual for guides that we have been working on, we hope to have before the end of the year, changing the regulations to facilitate the access of people to the Registro Nacional de Turismo, the tourism registry that you pointed out, to facilitate that in only 3 days with no fee, guides can have their professional ID once they fulfill their training requirements. And also in infrastructure, there are big opportunities for employment in the building of hotel infrastructure, but also public infrastructure in the country, because as you know, Colombia is still in the early years of tourism, and we have plenty of space to grow in the future.
So on this perspective, we can say that, Excellency, tourism is growing, also the employment is growing. So, I mean the talented employment. So if a tourist come your country, in Colombia, so they will feel how the hospitality is done as a professionally. So the people are getting education on the hospitality also.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And I think that there are big opportunities also for those regions in Colombia that were formerly affected by violence, for people to find in the tourism sector an opportunity to develop their lives and to generate income for them and for their families, and to show that richness, that cultural and natural richness that the different regions in Colombia have.
Perfect. Excellency, another question comes from the airline. So let a short brief on the airline. While the short-term pressure on airlines is likely to continue in 2019 and 2020, air travel in Colombia, Latin America's third largest aviation market, is likely to continue to grow to accommodate more touristic. In 2008, there were 5 airlines connecting Colombia with 7 US cities. And today, there are 7 airlines serving 11 cities. Overall, greater connectivity and competition has led to a decrease in fares, making Colombia a more accessible destination to visit from people across the US. International air connections interrupt due to the COVID-19. When do you think the air connections recover in Colombia, Excellency?
Air connectivity is the basis for the tourism, not only internationally, but nationally as well, as Colombia is a relatively large country. Colombia is a country the size approximately of Spain, France, and Portugal together. So we have been working, of course, with the air travel industry in a reactivation strategy, searching to provide resources for the reactivation, to support the promotion strategy, and for a gradual reopening of the different airports in the country, both for domestic travel and international travel. Yeah. We are aware of the huge challenges that the industry is facing worldwide, but we still believe that Colombia is well positioned to recover that industry progressively once the health conditions permit international travel from Colombia to other countries.
Exactly, Excellency. So on the tourism industry, the other perspective is, Excellency, the security. In recent years, the security situation improved greatly, and in 2016, a peace accord was signed between the government and the FARC, laying the groundwork for expansion in the sector after the official end of the decades-long civil war. This has led to a lot of land being released and accessible for tourism. This is amazing. Is FARC still active in Colombia? What is the safety situation in Colombia right now?
The security situation in Colombia, as you rightly point out, has improved very, very significantly in the last 10 years. And this is something that will not have a turning back. Yeah. The fact that Colombia is starting to be recognized as a tourism destination is the best demonstration that security concerns have been reduced to a very large extent. Only very remote regions in Colombia where there is no tourism offer, there is no tourism experiences to be offered, might have some degree of risk, but the major cities and most of the nature and adventure destinations are open. And that is the reason why an increasing number of visitors have traveled to the country. I think that that's the best demonstration. Colombia has improved very significantly in the rankings of tourism worldwide. Just to mention, for example, the Travel and Tourism Competitive Index of the World Economic Forum. Colombia jumped 7 positions from 63 to 55 in that ranking. We have just been nominated to 14 categories in the World Tourism Awards. Colombia's tourism webpage just won the award, the Webby Awards, which are the worldwide most well-known web awards, won the first position as the best webpage in the world. And I can mention other examples as USTOA that has named Colombia the most attractive South American destination in 2020. And there are many examples. So I like to respond to these questions about security, not only showing the position of the government, but how this has translated in an increase in the demand of travel to Colombia. And that's the reason why we saw, for example, last year, an increase in 17 new routes and 39 new frequencies to Colombia. That is the result of the improvement of the security conditions.
And Excellency, what is your last contributions and your message, especially for the investors all around the world? So what is your message, sir?
My message is pure and simple.
Yeah.
Colombia has the legal framework, the economic environment, and the right policies and measures in place to attract international investment.
Perfect.
We are ready to continue again and continue building that trust. I believe that the word for the reactivation of tourism in the future is trust. Every measure has to be aimed at generating trust in the investors, trust in the travelers, so that they continue coming to Colombia once we start seeing the light after this terrible situation caused by COVID-19. So there is a well-organized team in ProColombia, in the ministry, in other agencies of the government to facilitate and support any investment in the country.
So you are saying that the security industry and the financial security is ready in Colombia. So as an investor, come and invest. So this is the right message to the right audiences, Excellency. Excellency, while the recent years have been challenging for Colombia's exporting sectors, tourism has been a consistent contributor to the economy and a catalyst for development in Colombia. Tourism is one of the most significant opportunities to boost rural infrastructure and socio-economic well-being. Investment in these initiatives, including by foreign investors, is essential. Not only will investors benefit directly, they will also be contributing to Colombia's modernization and improve the quality of life for millions of Colombians. Lasting investment is the key to the long-term growth of infrastructure in Colombia. Excellency, thank you very much to be with us, sharing your time with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. A pleasure being with you today. I hope you find this conversation interesting. And again, welcome to Colombia for tourism and for travel with the best experiences that you can imagine.
Thank you very much, Excellency.